that gives a lot of people pause, and it slows adoption down incredibly. If you look at banks or major institutions today that think about, hey, I want to do stuff in crypto, these are the things that they're actually delay them from doing a 3-month implementation to a 24-month implementation.
Welcome to, I think, what is going to be a series of deep dives into our Risk Collective partners. We're graced by your presence in London this week.
My first time.
Yeah?
Thank you for having me.
No, it's an absolute pleasure.
Very excited to be here.
First impressions.
Amazing weather. I mean, really, couldn't ask for better weather.
Yeah.
The rain with my hair works very well. No, but so far, London seems like a very charming city. Big crypto scene here, which
growing.
I knew about, but coming here actually validated that. And the one thing that I think is interesting is that the crypto scene in London is like 3 turns more formal than anywhere else.
Very astute observation,
right?
I've got to say.
And so you go to a crypto place here, and everyone's wearing a collared shirt, everyone wearing a button-down, jackets. You know, we had a few meetings, and everyone was in that attire. In New York, Miami, Denver, Singapore, etc., that's not the case.
It's funny. There was a clear delineation in London between, are you a legitimate player in the space, and then you dress a certain way, and then there is very much a degenerate,
Right.
Every Friday there's a sort of club that hangs out, right?
Right.
Every time I've gone, maybe not in New York, definitely in Miami, definitely in Texas, where you have Bitcoin conferences, there is way more of a blurring between who's who.
Yes. Yeah, I mean, in the, say, traditional crypto conferences, I think basically it's everyone, and then there's the mid-tier, which are people who are trying to look more serious. And then there's bankers, which they stick out like a sore thumb anywhere they go. Here, it's not so clear who's who. Yeah. Which is, it's cool.
Yeah, that's good. And I'm surprised you picked up that it is kind of growing. I would say it's quite recent. Over the, every year I've worked in digital assets has been here in London.
Yeah.
It's only until very recently, I'd say in the last year, that there's a bit of a scene growing where, I guess in New York or maybe even Miami, any day of the week you can go and look for, I want to say institutional meetup, where people are actually building real financial services that do real things.
Right.
But you can meet heads of product, heads of finance, chief revenue officers. You can go and meet them right at sponsored events. That's only just started happening in the past year frequently here.
Yeah, on that topic, I went to an event in Mexico City probably 3 or 4 months ago, the Bitso stablecoin event. And usually you have a very clear idea of this is an institutional crowd or this is a retail crowd. And that one was mixed. And I was having a conversation with someone that kind of struck me that if you're in retail crypto and you've never been institutional, you really have no idea what is behind the curtain. And you think just, the protocol, the community guy at Uniswap is the person. And they don't realize that hey, there's infrastructure, they probably never heard of Fireblocks, right? And that to me was shocking. And so, the industry that we're in is very small. Yep. London is definitely a hub for what we're doing, institutional crypto and infrastructure and building infrastructure. And, I think it's only going to continue growing, but the smallness of the industry is a nice thing. I want to make sure we don't lose that.
Yeah. I know exactly what you mean. And it's nice going to cities around the world and having people you can check in on, people you can go out to have dinner with, build relationships with.
Yes.
I want you to hold that thought, though, about institutional We'll come back to that for sure.
Yeah.
Look, where's a good place to start? Tell us about Station70. What is it? What's your role? What are you guys doing?
Sure. Station70 is a company that was born from the idea that institutions want a security partner, and they also want products that make security easy. Okay. Before I was the head of product at Station70, I used to lead the crypto team. I was building crypto products at Cross River Bank. And very quickly did I realize that there's still, like, if you look at the stack of all the tools you need or all the things you need to do, there are so many gaps that you basically have to figure out on your own. How do I do this? Who do I need to plug in? Do I need to build a procedure? Do I need to do this in-house? Do I need to outsource the service? Do I need to build it? Do I need to buy it? And that gives a lot of people pause, and it slows adoption down incredibly. If you look at banks or major institutions today that think about, hey, I want to do stuff in crypto, these are the things that they're actually delay them from doing a 3-month implementation to a 24-month implementation. So we built Station70 with that in mind. And the first problem that we saw that was so obvious was disaster recovery, key backup and disaster recovery, which you are very familiar with. And so today we service almost 300 customers that use our infrastructure to basically make sure that their keys are backed up, whether they're using a technology provider, their own infrastructure. We provide redundancy. And a lot of times the way I describe it in a very simple way is we are the life vest on the boat, right? If you're on a boat, you don't leave shore until you have life vests for everyone on the boat.
Yep.
And so that's kind of the service we provide in very simple terms.
Yeah. And I was debating whether to tell the story or not. But I think it's a great story.
Yeah, it is a great story.
How we met.
I knew you were going to tell this story.
So for our viewers who are watching this, I met you on a call whilst you were working at Cross River Bank. And you were figuring out how to get involved with this stuff at a highly regulated bank.
FDIC insured
bank with, up until that moment, the most intense security process I've ever seen in a procurement cycle. And so I can really understand that focus, right, on building a service for institutions that takes all of that complexity out of the conversation and just allows you to fulfill those needs and those requirements of an institution. Is that why you chose Station70? Because you saw there was a real need for that level of focus and that level of institutional requirement? Or was there something else going on?
I mean, honestly, the experience we had at that point in time, you and me, us and the vendor we were looking at, made it very clear that this was a problem that could not be ignored, right? It was a problem that needed a good solution. The solutions that were in the market were not good. And plenty of potential clients, were opting to go with a harder, more expensive, more time-consuming route because there was no solution. And I kind of fell in love with the problem also while I was solving it myself.
Yep.
I was like, wow, this is such a cool and so like it's the Achilles heel, right? Like single points of failure are the Achilles heel of institutions.
Yep.
And that led me down the path today. I've told this story a few times, but the way I met Adam Healy, who's the CEO of Station70, I was doing diligence on Fireblocks, and I asked the CEO of Fireblocks, Michael Shalov, to introduce me to his top 3 customers. and I spoke to his top 3 customers, people who you know very well. Adam Healy was one of them.
Yep.
Dave Schwed was another one. And all of them, I asked him, like, what are you doing for key backup?
Legends of the game,
the legends.
Top of the top.
Top of the top, really. And when you ask them that question and you actually can, speak a couple sentences that make sense, they get it. And then it's like, oh, yeah, this is a major problem. It's horrible. Just last week, a customer of ours who just became a new customer was telling us they were flying people out, okay, from different parts of the world just to do a key backup ceremony. And so stories like that remind me why we're doing what we're doing. And, it's like being in crypto, being in infrastructure, being in institutional digital asset world is so much fun.
Yeah, it is. I think, so all of the, let's call it institutional stuff is very important, right? Speaking that language, making sure you deliver a solution that is institutionally viable. This is the stuff when you get really into the weeds of building what this industry needs for big adoption. All of that stuff's important. But I think there's a flip side to this problem that makes it fascinating, which is almost philosophical. This is probably the most primary and basic and fundamental blocker to financial markets, individuals, everyone adopting this technology, right? Everything you can do on chain, all of the fancy stuff, staking, allocating to DeFi protocols, all of this stuff is 6, 7, 8 steps down the chain after you figure out what custody is. And so it's like the very first thing you can do, which is custody your assets in some way, there's a huge roadblock and a huge risk around it, which is losing that key. And I think about this a lot. If the very first thing that you do on chain is in itself a humongous risk to actually using that asset, that is a very big problem to the adoption of this technology. So
absolutely.
Of course, like it needs to be built for institutions. It needs to be, have all of these bells and whistles and to be done in the right way. But there is also a kind of fundamental driver, dare I say noble, like whoever figures this out and makes it scalable, makes it accessible to everyone, they are doing a service to the whole industry, I think.
I agree. And on the flip side, we have risks of people who are not doing it well and are exposing the industry as a whole to risks.
Yep.
And
it's happened, right? A couple of times it's played out.
Indeed. I don't know. I think in general, the need for kind of instant gratification of the industry makes it so we don't see the advancements. But we were actually just speaking with the chief security officer today of one of the largest custodians in the world. And we were actually just, laughing about how in 2019, 2020, some of the problems that today we take for granted were so difficult to solve, right? And like, how are you going to manage transaction policies and who has access to the keys? And then where are you? And now we're dealing with other problems, right? And so I think we've come a very, very long way. Obviously, there's plenty of work to be done. Insurance is one of those things, those areas of opportunities, which, that's why we're very happy to be part of the Native Risk Collective. We're very excited to be part of that. And, I think like you guys have a ton of like green space to work over there.
It's something, probably you guys need to do this all the time as well. You need to remind yourself of how nascent all of this stuff is. There's so much green space to grow into. I think there's a lot of room for competition, right? I think, okay, let's stay on the topic of backup and recovery, but estimated, it's hard to do, but how many, let's call them business or institutional wallets do you think are actually backed up in a secure way with a trusted third party that's good? It's got to be, 5%, 10%, 20%? I see that from an insurance angle, right? Before, I didn't really think about that. I thought about that as TAM in my previous role. That's who you can sell into. Now in insurance, I think about that as a systemic risk. Like, that is something that could really stall mass adoption if enough of those wallets got lost, if enough people said, hey, you know what, actually, managing assets in this way it's too difficult. We would rather stick to dollars in some way or on-chain assets, right? Because it's too difficult to get this right.
The amount of people who have told me things like, brace yourself, okay? I just pray that XYZ vendor doesn't go down. That's my strategy. I have no idea where the backup materials are. That person left and we have no idea. And countless other things on that where it's like pure, almost negligence,
Yep.
right? Does say a lot about how much opportunity is left. To answer your question about from a percentage perspective, I think we are in the 10 to 20, 30%, like on the upper range. It's tough to estimate because some wallets don't have a lot of value. And so do you count those? Do you not count those? But I mean, we've spoken to companies that have hundreds of different wallets and they're all over the place.
Yeah.
Geographies, employees, traders, operations people.
Yep.
You know,
Differing levels of control,
Yes.
access control. Yep.
Totally. But then, on the same time, we talk to customers that spend 10 to 20 hours a quarter with us doing tabletop exercise, getting audit ready, doing full backup test recoveries every single time they go through audit. And, there's adults in the room.
Yep.
Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, we see that all the time. I think something, a lot of players in the space don't know, it's a standard question on cyber insurance application form.
Yeah.
What does your business continuity plan look like? What is your disaster recovery plan? So if it's a crypto risk, where are the private keys stored? How do you get access to them? And I think, I'm not saying that, getting insurance is the holy grail for these companies, because it's not. It does reduce friction. It helps them with whatever strategic initiatives they've got. But I guess what I'm trying to say is it's so fundamental that actually, if you don't have that in place, you're not getting insurance. You're not getting anywhere near it. Because an insurer whose job is to manage risk, and by the way, they're very good at it, these companies are hundreds of years old, they're saying you can't even be bothered to mitigate this fundamental risk. We're not going to take you onto our book. That's someone that's going to blow up eventually, right?
Right. What does that say about the rest of the risks you're taking?
Yeah, it's very demonstrative of their whole attitude to managing risk. So, by the way, this is why I think it's so impactful having you guys in the Risk Collective, because being able to point to Station70 is the best way to do this. Go and talk to those guys. They know exactly how to make you look brilliant in front of an insurer. Very helpful.
What do you think has changed over time about the perception of digital assets and insurance and like disaster recovery? You can throw that in there, but I'm just curious because I was in the space before insurance was a viability, was an option, right? Yeah. Now it is an option. So like, how has that changed? What's your take on that?
Yeah, it's amazing. I don't think it gets spoken about enough, but it is very readily available now. If you look, let's call them, heavily regulated insurance markets, 3-4 years ago across the Lloyd's market, London insurers, kind of difficult to broke insurance risk. It was doable, but they were only taking the best risks, the most secure risks. And it was expensive. Really only the biggest asset managers, custodians, exchanges would then go and buy those policies. Rates have come down a lot. It's become very normalized. I think the technology is understood. But the detail around requirements being normalized is very telling, right?
Interesting.
Basic controls that need to be in place for you even to get a shoe in now it's not become a, hey, this is a great risk because they have key backup in place. It's either you have key backup or like this is just not the way it's done.
Right.
It's just starting to get these standard ways to kind of deliver insurance, and security controls are a big part of that.
What would you say are those few things that you need to have? Like, key backup is one, as you mentioned. What else?
Key backup, pretty standard cybersecurity demonstrations, right? So do you
need to have a CISO?
No.
No.
But it helps.
Yeah.
And depending on the size of your business and the size of the risk and the assets you've got.
Okay.
But it's pretty standard. Like, hey, do you have network control procedures? Are you managing your devices correctly? It's the same cybersecurity stuff you'd expect from any financial institution. Yeah. It's just now, specifically where there is on-chain risk or specific digital assets risk.
Yeah.
They're starting to ask very specific questions. So they're understanding stuff now, right?
Yeah, I agree. The insurers, the auditors, the regulators, they're all getting sharper on what questions to ask, actually understanding the real use case, the implementation, where the risk lies. And it's making the companies be more prepared. Yeah. You know, it's a forcing function. It's good.
So it's been a while since I looked at this, but I looked it up because I know it's been bubbling away in the background. I see you talking about it. Article 9 of DORA, which is live or coming to fruition very soon.
Yeah, this year, next year.
Has very specific language around storing, protecting, and backing up private keys. That didn't used to exist when I worked in this space.
Correct.
MiCA is now very, very strict on who's liable if you don't prove that so if you suffer a loss around losing private keys and you haven't proven that your business continuity plan was of a reasonable standard, you're massively liable for any financial losses. Is that starting to guide conversations that you're having with clients?
100%. I'll give you one better. The Central Bank of Brazil, which is the regulator of the digital asset industry there, we spoke with them directly, and they understood deeply the technology. They understood MPC. They understood who the custodian was. And in fact, they asked if we could offer services so that the companies that were using us in Brazil could actually have the keys stored in region, Brazil. And because we are cloud native, we can offer storage of your keys anywhere in the world. Anywhere that AWS exists.
Wow.
Yeah.
So the regulators are satisfied. I mean, the Brazilian clients are like, we just need to do exactly what they say.
Right.
Taking a lot of friction out of that. Companies who are onboarding onto digital assets in that region.
Oh, yeah. I mean, think about friction now that you say it, just to give you the kind of data point.
Yeah.
When I was at Cross River, it took me 9 months to build the disaster recovery in-house and implement it. Get approved by all the committees, get approved by the regulator, get it done. Today, we onboard companies in 30 minutes.
Yeah. Amazing.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
So, back on that theme that we've come a long ways.
Your new clients don't know how good they've got it.
They don't. They really don't.
Yeah. I always think about, I've been speaking to a lot of kind of other vendors in our risk collective. I think everyone in this space is looking for their chainalysis moment, right? The minute anti-money laundering regulations meant, hey, you need to use Chainalysis or Elliptic or one of these providers, it was amazing. For the growth of those companies, it was like, cool, let's sell into that gap.
Yeah.
And I think that requirement is coming for other risks, right? Definitely for disaster recovery. I know that there are now some regulatory regimes mandating insurance. I think that goes hand in hand. But I think the Chainalysis moment is yet to come for disaster recovery.
Yeah, I agree.
I'm excited for you guys, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, we're pushing the envelope. We're building, every quarter we're shipping new features, new advancements. Our customers we have the best customers in the world because they give us amazing feedback and they're dedicated to the industry and they want it to be better.
Yep.
So we'll see. We'll see what happens. We'll see. We're here for the long run.
Yeah.
You know?
On that, I mean, what's coming next? You guys are everywhere. You're plugged into every single, let's call it, reputable custody platform out there. You're pretty much, dominating kind of from the security side of things. What are you guys thinking about next? And also I saw, there was a move into retail backup as well. I think that's obviously very important, very needed. Is that where you're going to be focusing for the foreseeable? Or are you kind of doubling down on that?
Look, our bread and butter is and always will be institutional services. Mm-hmm. We launched Foundation late last year, soft launched it, and it's been very well received. Yeah. It's a very kind of glaring problem that the industry as a whole needs to mature into it, right?
It's a very different conversation from, hey, I'm setting up an exchange or a fund or some kind of financial service in this jurisdiction, and they're telling me I need to buy disaster recovery. Can you do that for me this week? Great, I'll do that for you immediately. Yeah. How do you educate millions of customers? I myself, having worked in disaster recovery, lost some stupid NFTs because I broke my phone and lost the authenticator and all of this stuff. How do you do that? Is it just attritional? Are you chipping away at it?
It's not easy. Yeah. And crypto is notoriously difficult for direct to consumer.
Yes.
Notoriously difficult. Yeah. So actually where we've seen the most kind of reception is in what I call B2B2C, where we're working with financial advisors, wealth planners, and that sort of emerging advisors to crypto wealth. People who say, hey, I have this problem. I have actually a significant portion of my assets, and it's a high number of assets. So I want to make sure that if something happens to me, that gets passed on. Yep. That's where we've seen the best reception for Foundation.
Yeah.
In terms of other things that we're looking at, I mean, like I said, we have the best customers in the world and some of the best partners in the world as well. And so we continue to iterate on that feedback, on that, the closeness that we have with our customers. Like I said, a lot of them, we talk to them on a quarterly basis just to do audit work. And so we're trying to make their lives easier with security products.
Yep. Yeah.
More to come.
I can't wait. Looking forward to it. Right. Okay. I've been chewing your ear off. Let's round this out. Mm-hmm. You are the only disaster recovery provider, as far as I know, in the world who has now been vetted by Lloyd's of London insurers through the Native Risk Collective. I think it's an important step, right? What does that mean for you guys? Has it impacted the way you think about how you communicate with customers, the way you think about Station70's role in de-risking the space entirely? The reason I was excited about this and why I wanted to ask you about it, these are the oldest risk markets in the world, the oldest risk experts in the world, right? They are very blooded. They don't make decisions easily. They definitely don't make decisions to give discounts to customers easily. Right. Because why would they? They don't have to, right? So when you guys were approved as a vetted vendor, what did it mean in terms of how you're thinking about what Station70 does?
I think what we realized early on in the journey is that when you say the word disaster recovery, a synonym of that is risk protection, right? Basically. And a natural follow-on question that we get from a lot of our customers, hey, do you guys have insurance? Do you offer insurance? Yeah. And very candidly and very transparently, we say, look, we are not in the insurance business personally. And for a very long time, before we were in the Native Risk Collective, we didn't have a great answer. We said, look, insurance is kind of this unsolved mystery. But now that natives here, I think there's a solution to it. And so now when we talk to customers about it, we tell them very candidly that if they are using Station70 solution, they are able to take advantage of a discounted rate, discounted premium. Why? The same way when you get home insurance, they make sure that you have an alarm system. They give you a better rate.
Yep.
Same time, my brother-in-law is a traditional insurance broker. So we have this conversation all the time. He's also a no-coiner. He's also a no-coiner. Shout out to the no-coiners out there.
You need to fix that for him.
Don't worry. I've tried many, many times. He's a long lost cause.
Yeah.
But anyway, so we talk about insurance all the time. And, he's insuring boaters and all the traditional assets.
Yep.
And so I make it akin to that. So he would never insure a boat that didn't have a life vest or wasn't set up properly or the engine wasn't checked, So that is how I think the positioning and clients are very grateful to have the ability to say, hey, I'm using this solution, and now I can enjoy a better rate for my insurance. It's great. It's a win-win-win, as they say.
Amazing. Brilliant. Well, look, fantastic to have you with us.
Yeah.
Let's round out with some rapid fire questions.
I wasn't ready for this.
Right, where should we go with this? Well, quick one. Where can our viewers meet us both this year? Where are we throwing a party? That's a really important
question. Let's see. I am planning a big paddle party for Consensus Miami.
Okay.
I believe that's in May.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to be there, right?
Well, yes.
You'll be in Miami.
In an observational capacity.
That's good enough.
If you don't have hand-eye coordination, what can you do at that party?
Well, my plan is actually to bring some pros and give lessons to people that don't feel comfortable playing.
I'll be signing up to those.
That's good enough, right?
Is there a tackling element to paddle?
Oh, you could tackle some people, but you would get eliminated immediately.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right, I'll try something else. Quick fire number 2.
Yes.
Are we in a bear market?
We are towards the end of a bear market.
Interesting.
Yes.
So the best is yet to come.
Oh, yeah. I mean, we are in probably the later stages, if not the last stage of the bear market. I think if you look at, I'm not a trader. I'm not a chartist. I'm just a Bitcoin accumulator.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't look at the price, but I think we're in the later stages of the bear market.
I love the approach.
Yeah.
That was going to be my final quickfire question. Advice to a no-coiner. Where would you begin?
I would look at the evolution of money and the evolution of the internet. And then I would ask myself a series of questions like, has the speed of money caught up to the speed of the internet? If the answer is no, is crypto, digital asset a solution to that? If you don't think so, then maybe there's something else. But if you do, there's your answer.
Yeah. And if there is something else,
let me know.
I'd love to know.
Yeah. Send it my way.
Well, Nate, absolute pleasure. Thank you for coming to visit us.
You're the man, Alex.
I'll see you in Miami.
Appreciate you, man. Let's do it.
Cool.